The rain hammered the tin roof of the old garage like 1,000 accusatory fists. But inside, the air was thicker, choked with the kind of silence that precedes a storm's fury. 14-year-old Jason huddled in the corner, his backpack clutched like a shield, heart pounding as his father's shadow loomed larger than the thunder outside. "You're no son of mine," Jeffrey snarled, his voice cracking like the lightning that split the sky, the words landing harder than any blow could. Jason's world shattered in that instant, the faded Polaroid of him and his dad at last year's Reds game slipping from his trembling fingers to the oil-stained concrete floor. Jeffrey's face, twisted in revulsion, was the last image burned into his mind before the garage door slammed shut behind him, sealing him out into the relentless downpour of a Cincinnati night. No money, no plan, just the sting of betrayal and the whisper of survival echoing in his ears. "Run, kid. Don't look back." That was 16 years ago, but the memory clawed at Jason like it was yesterday. He'd been caught, stupidly, desperately, kissing Tommy Reynolds behind the bleachers at school, some whispered rumor reaching the ears of the wrong person, ricocheting straight to his father's doorstep. Jeffrey Harlan, the stoic mill worker with calloused hands and a Bible verse tattooed on his forearm, couldn't stomach it. "Faggot," he'd spat, the slur landing like a curse from the pulpit he dragged the family to every Sunday. Jason's mother, Ellen, had stood frozen in the kitchen doorway, tears streaming but mouth sealed shut by years of deference. His little sister, Mia, only 10, had peeked from the stairs, her wide eyes pleading for this to be a nightmare. But it wasn't. Jason stumbled through the storm-slicked streets of Over the Rhine, the historic neighborhood's brick facades blurring into a maze of shadows. His sneakers squelched with every step, soaked through to the bone, mirroring the chill seeping into his chest. He had $42 in his pocket, birthday cash from Grandma, who was already in the ground, and a half-eaten candy bar from his backpack. The city lights smeared like wet paint, the neon glow of a dive bar spilling laughter he couldn't join, the distant hum of the Ohio River mocking his isolation. By dawn, exhaustion won. He collapsed under the awning of a shuttered bookstore, the sign reading "Once Upon a Time Books" in peeling gold letters, a cruel irony. Huddled there, shivering, Jason replayed the scene, Jeffrey's fist slamming the table, the veins bulging in his neck, the way he'd grabbed Jason's arm hard enough to bruise. "Get out. Don't come back until you're fixed." Fixed. As if love was a broken engine, something his dad could wrench and hammer straight. A shadow fell over him then, not threatening but curious. "Hey, kid. You look like you could use a hot meal." The voice was gravelly, laced with the faint twang of Appalachia. Jason looked up into the face of Marcus, a black man in his 50s with a salt and pepper beard and eyes that had seen too many lost souls. Marcus ran the bookstore, or what was left of it after the recession gutted the neighborhood. He didn't ask questions, just handed Jason a thermos of coffee and a blanket from his van. "World's full of assholes," Marcus said simply, settling beside him on the stoop. "But it's also got room for strays like us." That stray became Marcus's shadow. He let Jason crash in the bookstore's back room, a dusty alcove stacked with forgotten tomes and the faint scent of aged paper. In exchange, Jason swept floors, shelved books, and learned the rhythm of the city. Marcus was gay, out and unapologetic in a time when that still meant sideways glances and whispered slurs. "Ain't no shame in who you love, boy," he'd say over greasy diner breakfasts, his laugh booming like thunder that promised no storm. Shame's on them for not seeing the miracle in it. Jason soaked it up like parched earth after rain. School was a lost cause. He dropped out, got his GED through night classes at the community center. Marcus taught him more than letters, resilience, the art of a kind word, how to spot a kindred spirit in a crowd. By 16, Jason was working shifts at a coffee shop, saving every penny, his body filling out with the lean muscle of youth reclaiming itself. But the ache lingered, a hollow in his gut where family should be. Letters to Mia went unanswered, intercepted by Jeffrey's iron rule. Ellen's one call, months later, was a tearful whisper, "Come home, baby." He's sorry, but Jason knew better. Sorry didn't undo the door slammed in his face. At 18, Marcus passed heart attack, quick and merciless. The bookstore shuttered, and Jason inherited a shoebox of cash and a letter. Keep running toward the light, not away from the dark. You're stronger than you know. Grief hit like a freight train, but it forged him. He packed a duffel, boarded a Greyhound bound for New York City, the promise of reinvention humming in his veins. The bus rumbled through the Rust Belt, past factories like Jeffrey's Mill, now half-empty ghosts. Jason pressed his forehead to the cool glass, whispering vows to the passing miles. I'll make it. I'll show them. The city swallowed him whole, a glittering beast of concrete and chaos. He crashed on couches in the village, waitressed at a queer bar called the Blue Moon, where drag queens ruled the stage and stories flowed freer than the cheap whiskey. There, amid the thump of bass and the haze of cigarette smoke, Jason bloomed. He cut his shaggy hair into a sharp fade, traded flannels for fitted tees that hugged his broadening shoulders. College came on scholarships and grit, a community college associate's in graphic design, then transfer to Pratt Institute on loans he paid off bartending nights. But love, that was the wild card. Fleeting hookups in dimly lit lofts, hearts guarded like trade secrets. Until Jeffrey. Not his father, that name now a scar, but a new Jeffrey, 28 to Jason's 24, with hazel eyes that crinkled like autumn leaves and a laugh that disarmed defenses. They met at a gallery opening in Chelsea, Jason's first solo exhibit of urban portraits, raw sketches of street kids and elders, faces etched with unspoken stories. Jeffrey was a social worker, specializing in LGBTQ youth outreach, his button-down rumpled from a day wrangling runaways. You captured the ache, Jeffrey said, studying Jason's Peace Exile, a charcoal rendering of a boy under a bookstore awning. His voice was steady, Midwestern soft, like he'd grown up chasing fireflies in fields Jason had only read about. They talked until the wine ran dry, wandering the high line under stars smudged by city glow. Jeffrey shared his own scars, coming out at 16 in rural Pennsylvania, a mother who baked apology pies, a father who never spoke of it but showed up to every Pride parade since. Love isn't a battlefield, he murmured, their fingers brushing on a park bench. It's a bridge. Jason hesitated, the old fear coiling like smoke. But Jeffrey was patient, a quiet anchor. Their first kiss tasted of rain and redemption, under the awning of Jason's tiny Brooklyn walk-up. What bloomed was slow, deep, a romance woven from late-night confessions and shared silences. Jeffrey moved in after 6 months, their apartment a sanctuary of mismatched furniture and dog-eared books. Jason thrived. Freelance gigs turned to a full-time role at a design firm, his work gracing billboards for youth shelters. Jeffrey's passion fueled his own. Together, they volunteered at centers, pulling kids from the brink like Marcus had pulled him. Yet the past whispered. Mia's Facebook friend request. Out of the blue at Jason's 28th birthday. Miss you, big bro. Mom's not great. Dad. He's changed? Jason's thumb hovered. Heart a war drum. Jeffrey squeezed his shoulder. You don't owe them your light. But the pull was magnetic. A tether fraying but unbroken. Now, 30. Jason stood taller. His frame honed by gym sessions and life's unyielding forge. His designs had won awards. He'd keynote at conferences on queer resilience. Jeffrey, 34 now, proposed on a whim during a road trip through the Smokies. A simple silver band slipped on over greasy diner fries. Partners in crime, he grinned, and Jason, tears blurring the neon sign, said yes. The call came like fate's cruel joke. Ellen, voice frail over crackling line. Cancer. Stage 4. Come home, Jason. For her, Mia, 26. Unmarried, echoing the plea. Jeffrey's hand in his. We go together. So they booked flights to Cincinnati. The city Jason fled, now a reluctant prodigal's return. The plane touched down under overcast skies, the Ohio River sluggish below. Jason's pulse thrummed as they rented a car, Jeffrey's playlist of Springsteen filling the silence. You sure? Jeffrey asked, thumb tracing Jason's knuckles. Jason nodded, steeling himself. The Harlan house loomed unchanged. Sagging porch, the same brass knocker shaped like a lion's head. Mia flung the door open before they knocked, her hug bone-crushing, tears soaking Jason's collar. God, you look good. Like a movie star. Inside, the air was thick with hospital brochures and the scent of canned soup. Ellen lay on the couch, thinner than memory, but her smile lit the room. My boy, she whispered, pulling him close. Jeffrey hung back, polite, until Ellen waved him in. And this must be the one who makes you shine. They talked haltingly, recipes, Mia's job at the library, Jason's life in pixels and passion. Laughter bubbled, fragile as bubbles in ginger ale. Then, footsteps on the stairs. Heavy, deliberate. Jeffrey the elder descended, unchanged in his flannel and jeans, gray streaking his temples like frost on steel. His eyes, the same stormy blue as Jason's, locked on. Time froze. Jason, he said, voice rough as gravel. No apology, just the weight of years. Dad, Jason's throat tightened. Jeffrey glanced at their joined hands, the rings glinting. A flicker, disgust, regret. He extended a hand to Jeffrey the younger. Welcome. Stilted dinner followed. Pot roast. The good china. Talk skirted the chasm, orbiting weather and sports. But under the table, Jason's knee bounced, the old wound pulsing. Night fell, guest room creaking under them. Jeffrey held Jason close, whispers against skin. You're enough. Always were, but sleep evaded, ghosts pacing the floorboards. Dawn brought the storm. Mia cornered Jason in the kitchen, coffee steaming. He's tried, you know. Therapy. After you left, he fell apart. Lost the mill job. Drank himself stupid. Mom almost left. Jason's cup trembled. And now, clean 5 years. But seeing you, with him, she trailed off, eyes pleading. The confrontation brewed all morning. erupting after Ellen's nap. Jeffrey Sr. found Jason on the porch, staring at the garage where it began. "We need to talk." His voice was low, commanding still. Jason turned, chin lifted. "Talk? You mean confess?" The words spilled. Damn too long. The nights under bridges, the hunger, Marcus's grave. "You broke me, Dad. Called me broken." Jeffrey's face crumpled, hands shoving into pockets. "I was scared. Church said. Hell said. I thought I was saving you." A sob escaped. "I prayed for forgiveness every damn day." "Forgiveness?" Jason's voice rose, cracking. "You kicked out your son." Inside, voices carried. Ellen wheeled in, Mia trailing. Jeffrey, the partner, stood sentinel in the doorway, silent support. The elder Jeffrey dropped to his knees, not in supplication but defeat. "I'm sorry. God. Jason. I'm so sorry." Tears carved tracks down weathered cheeks. The room held its breath. Jason's chest heaved, fury and ache colliding. Jeffrey, his Jeffrey, stepped forward, voice steady. "Sir, love isn't a choice. It's a gift. And Jason, he's the best one I know." Words hung, heavy. Then, Ellen's hand on Jason's arm. "Forgive, baby. Not for him. For you." Jason knelt, eye level with the man who'd birthed him into pain. Their embrace was awkward, bone and regret, but real. "I came back stronger," Jason whispered. "Because I had to." The days blurred into a fragile truce. Ellen rallied enough for a backyard barbecue, laughter mingling with chemo stories. Jeffrey Sr. watched Jason and his partner with cautious eyes, thawing over shared beers and tales of grandkids he might never know. Betrayal's scar softened, not erased humanity's messy grace. When they left, Ellen pressed a locket into Jason's palm. The Polaroid, faded but whole. "Family's what we rebuild." At the airport, Jeffrey kissed him deep, promising. "Proud of you." Jason boarded the plane lighter, the river below now a vein of home. Strength wasn't absence of wound, but carrying it forward. And in the seat beside him, love, fierce, unyielding, whispered, "We made it." But homecomings aren't fairy tales. They're marathons with hidden landmines. Back in Brooklyn, the high of reconciliation faded into the grind of life. But Jason carried a new lightness, sketching feverishly portraits of Ellen's defiant smile, Mia's tentative hope. Jeffrey noticed, curling around him in bed one night, breath warm on his neck. "You're glowing, Harlan. Like you swallowed the sun." Jason chuckled, tracing the freckles across Jeffrey's nose. "Maybe I did. Or maybe it's you, keeping the shadows at bay." Their life was a rhythm now. Mornings tangled in sheets, Jeffrey's social work pulling him into the trenches while Jason's designs lit up Times Square ads for Pride campaigns. Yet the call from Mia 2 weeks later shattered the idyll. "Jason, it's Mom. The treatments aren't. She's slipping." Her voice broke over the line. A sob swallowed. Jason's world tilted, the sketchpad slipping from his lap. Jeffrey found him there, staring at the wall, phone limp in his hand. "We're going back," Jason said. Not a question. Jeffrey nodded, packing bags with quiet efficiency, his own eyes shadowed. He'd seen loss in his work, kids orphaned by indifference. But this was Jason's blood, the fresh suture of forgiveness tested too soon. The flight west was turbulence incarnate, mirroring the storm in Jason's gut. He gripped Jeffrey's hand through the jolts. Memories assaulting, Ellen's lullabies, her hands kneading dough for cinnamon rolls, the way she'd shielded him from Jeffrey's rages even before the expulsion. She was my anchor, he confessed, voice muffled against Jeffrey's shoulder. Dad cut the rope, but she threw me a line. Cincinnati greeted them with muggy heat, the kind that clings like regret. The house felt smaller, air heavy with antiseptic and unspoken fears. Ellen was bedridden now, skin translucent, but her eyes sparked at their entrance. "My boys," she rasped, beckoning. Mia hovered, hollow-cheeked, juggling hospice schedules and a job that barely paid. Jeffrey Sr. lurked in the kitchen, brewing coffee with mechanical precision, his presence a ghost haunting the edges. That first night, as rain pattered the windows, Ellen gathered them. "No pity party," she declared, voice frail but fierce. "Stories. Tell me everything." Jason spoke of New York's Pulse, the gallery where he met Jeffrey, the kids they mentored who reminded him of his younger self. Jeffrey wove in tales of resilience, his Pennsylvania roots mirroring the Harlan's Rust Belt grit. Even Jeffrey Sr. contributed, haltingly, a fishing trip from his youth, a verse from Psalms about prodigal sons. Laughter cracked through, tentative, like sunlight piercing clouds. But conflict simmered beneath. Alone in the garage, the cursed sanctum, Jason confronted his father again. "You show up now. After everything? Where were you when I was starving?" Jeffrey Sr.'s face hardened, then fractured. "I was drowning, son. Booze. Guilt. Thought you'd hate me less if I stayed away." The admission hung, a bridge half-built. Jason wanted to rage, to withhold, but Ellen's weakening grip urged grace. "Hate's heavy," he said finally. "I'm tired of carrying it." Jeffrey, the partner, became the family's unexpected glue. Over backyard checkers with Mia, he shared laughs that eased her burdens. With Ellen, gentle massages and folktales from his grandma's kitchen. Even with the elder Jeffrey, tentative bonds formed, talk of carpentry, the younger man's volunteer builds for shelters echoing the father's mill days. "You're good for him," Jeffrey Sr. grunted one evening, handing over a beer. "Never thought I'd say that." Yet betrayal's echo lingered, not from the past but fresh. Mia, over late-night whiskey, confessed, "Dad's not all changed. He outed you to the neighbors once. Said it was pride or some bullshit." Jason's blood ran cold, the old wound reopening. Jeffrey found him pacing the yard, fury etched in moonlight. "He'll never fully get it," Jason spat. "It's like forgiving a storm for the flood." Jeffrey pulled him close, steady as oak. "Forgiveness isn't approval. It's freedom." Their kiss was urgent, reclaiming, bodies pressing against the cool siding. In that moment, under indifferent stars, Jason remembered, love wasn't Jeffrey's to give or withhold. It was his, hard-won, unbreakable. Ellen's decline accelerated, days bleeding into vigils. Jason read to her from Marcus's old book, The Velveteen Rabbit, voice steady through tears. "Real isn't how you're made," he quoted. "It's what you're loved into." She squeezed his hand, whispering, "You were always real to me." The end came gently, at dawn on a Tuesday. Family clustered, breaths synchronized. Jeffrey Sr. held her other hand, his face a mask of quiet devastation. As she slipped away, Ellen's last words were for Jason. Proud. So proud. The room exhaled, a collective keening. Mia collapsed into sobs. Jason stood numb, Jeffrey's arms his only tether. Funeral was Methodist, hymns swelling like river fog. Jeffrey Sr. spoke, voice breaking. She taught me love's not conditional. I failed that lesson once. Won't again. Eyes on Jason, raw with plea. The prodigals return, full circle. Back in New York, grief settled like dust. Jason threw himself into work. A mural project for a youth center. Vibrant faces emerging from shadows. Hands linked in defiance. Jeffrey anchored. Therapy sessions and takeout nights rebuilding the fractured. One evening, as snow dusted the fire escape, Jason proposed expansion. Adopt. Give a kid what I didn't have. Jeffrey's yes was a vow. Eyes shining. But the call from Mia shattered again. Dad's sick. Heart. Doctors say. Jason's resolve cracked. Return. Or sever. Jeffrey packed without question. Family's messy. That's the point. Ohio welcomed with frost-kissed fields. Jeffrey Sr., pale in hospital gown, mustered a grin. Knew you'd come. Talks deepened. Apologies unpacked like old trunks. Letters Jason had written but never sent read aloud. Betrayal transmuted to understanding. Tentative. Discharge brought home care. Jason and Jeffrey staying weeks. Bonds wove tighter. Barbecues where stories flowed. Mia's budding romance with a barista. Hints of acceptance. The elder Jeffrey, watching Jason and his partner chop wood, murmured, "You built something beautiful. Wish I'd seen it sooner." Departure loomed. Airport goodbyes tear-streaked. "Love you, Dad," Jason said, the words foreign yet fitting. Jeffrey Sr. hugged fierce. "Love you more. Both of you." Plane ascending. Jason leaned into Jeffrey. Stronger together. The city sprawled below. A new chapter etched in skyline. Strength, Jason learned, was elastic, stretching through trials, snapping back reshaped. Back in the brownstone's warmth, he and Jeffrey dove into adoption classes, paperwork a labyrinth of hope. "Imagine it," Jeffrey said over Thai takeout. "Eyes alight. A little us, causing chaos." Jason laughed, sketching caricatures of toddler tantrums, the future tangible. Yet shadows crept. Jason's firm landed a big client, a conservative brand pushing family values ads. The brief clashed, smiling straights in picket fences, no room for rainbows. "Compromise," his boss urged. Jason balked, memories of expulsion flaring. Late nights bled into arguments. Jeffrey mediated, voice calm. "Your art's your voice. Don't mute it." The climax brewed at a team meeting. Jason pitching alternatives. Diverse families, woven threads. Silence, then pushback. Stick to the script. Fired that afternoon. Box of sketches under arm. Rage boiled homeward, but Jeffrey waited with wine and open arms. Door closes. Window opens. "Remember Marcus?" Jason nodded, crumbling. "What if I'm not enough?" "You're everything," Jeffrey whispered, their bodies a bomb. That night, passion reignited, slow, reclaiming, skin mapping scars like constellations. Dawn brought clarity, freelance freedom, a queer-owned agency scouting talent. Meanwhile, Ohio tugged. Mia's emails brimmed with updates. Dad's checkups clean. Her promotion. Then, the bomb. Dad wants to visit. Meet you on your turf. Jason's stomach nodded. Jeffrey Sr. in New York? The man who'd barred him now crossing thresholds? Arrival was chaos. LaGuardia bustle. Jeffrey Sr. in ill-fitting khakis. Suitcase clutched like a shield. Bigger than I thought, he marveled, eyes wide at skyscrapers. Jason drove, tension thick as fog. Jeffrey the partner broke ice with diner pie. Stories of his own dad thawing the elders' reserve. The brownstone tour revealed their world. Gallery walls of Jason's art. Bookshelves groaning with Jeffrey's social work tomes. Dinner was Jeffrey's spaghetti. Candles flickering. Talk veered personal, Senior Jeffrey admitting AA meetings. A church group for healing parents. Learned love's not a switch, he said. Fork pausing. Jason's throat tightened. Took you long enough. The betrayal surfaced then. Unbidden. You told the neighbors, Jason accused. Voice low. Made me a spectacle. Silence stretched. Jeffrey the partner still. The elder's face ashen. Drunk talk. Bragging. Thinking it'd make me feel normal. Stupid pride. Tears welled. Hurt you more. Can't undo. Jason rose, pacing. It wasn't just words. It was erasure. Jeffrey pulled him down, hand on knee. Hear him out. The elder continued, halting, letters written post-expulsion. Burned in shame. Therapy breakthroughs. Seeing his son's strength as grace, not curse. Night deepened. Confessions spilling. Senior Jeffrey shared his own youth, crushes buried. A mill buddy lost to AIDS unspoken. Feared you'd suffer like that. Jason softened, pieces fitting. I did suffer. But I survived. Because of people like him. Nod to Jeffrey. Love's quiet testament. The visit extended Central Park walks, where geese honked indifference. A Broadway matinee. Rent. Elder Jeffrey dabbing eyes at Seasons of Love. Your world's vibrant, he admitted over post-show beers. Mine was gray. Departure brought hugs. Real ones. Proud. Son. Deep down. Always was. Plane ticket stub in pocket. Jason exhaled. Jeffrey kissed his temple. Growth looks good on him. On you. But conflict escalated at work. The agency gig soured. Client balked at too bold queer elements in a campaign. Tone it down, directive came. Jason refused. Emailing resignation. Art without truth is wallpaper. Fallout. Bridges burned. But buzz grew. A viral tweet of his pitch deck snowballed. Shares from influencers. Offers pouring in. Climax hit at a Pride panel. Jason speaking unscripted. Kicked out at 14, but not kicked down. Love rebuilt me. Audience roared. Jeffrey in front row. Beaming. Backstage. Call from Ohio. Mia in labor. Early. Need you. Bro. Hospital dash. Jeffrey driving through night. Mia's room. Tiny niece. Lila. Mewling. Auntie Ellen would have loved this, Mia wept. Senior Jeffrey. Hovering. Cradled the bundle. Looks like you. Jason. Circle closed. Fragile. Return east. Jason's phone buzzed. Book deal offer. Memoir on resilience. Jeffrey popped champagne. Told you, son swallowing. Their celebration spilled to bed. Bodies entwined. Future whispered in moans. Yet doubt nipped. Adoption waitlist long. Senior Jeffrey's emails tentative. Miss the chaos. Jason replied, heart swelling. Come for Thanksgiving. The holiday loomed. Tensions and tenderness colliding. Thanksgiving's aroma, turkey roasting, sage stuffing, filled the brownstone like a promise kept. Jason basted the bird, nerves jangling, while Jeffrey orchestrated sides, his apron dusted with flour. Relax, he teased, hip-checking Jason. Your dad's not the grill this time. But Jason's smile faltered. Reconciliation was a dance. Steps learned late. The elder Jeffrey arrived flustered, pie in hand from a Cincy bakery, Mia and Lila in tow via red eye. Hugs exchanged, awkward then warm. The table groaned under platters, candles casting golden halos. Toasts rang, Mia's to new beginnings, Jeffrey's to chosen kin. Senior Jeffrey raised glass, voice gruff. To family, the kind that fights back. Talk flowed easier. Lila's coos, Mia's tales of single mom grit. Jason shared book progress, pages pouring out like confession. But undercurrents swirled. Over pie, Senior Jeffrey cornered Jeffrey the partner. You ever regret it? The life. Jeffrey's reply, steady, regret silence. Not love. The elder nodded, absorbing. Night brought board games, laughter echoing off brick walls. Lila asleep on Jason's chest, tiny fist curled. He felt the weight of legacy broken, mended. Jeffrey watched. I soft. You're a natural, but betrayal's ghost stirred pre-dawn. Jason woke to voices. Senior Jeffrey on the fire escape, phone pressed to ear. Yeah, he's happy. With a man. Wish it was different. The words sliced. Old wound gaping. Jason slipped out. Confrontation brewing. Different how? Dad? Fixed. The elder startled. Face paling. Old friend from church. Slipped. Habit. But Jason's fury crested. Habits kill trust. Voices rose, drawing Jeffrey. Mia stirred. Lila fussing. Chaos erupted, accusations flying. Pie crumbs witness. Jeffrey Sr.'s defense crumbled. I'm trying. Damn it. Therapy. Prayers. It's hard. Jason's retort. Hard? Try 14 on the streets. The room fractured. Mia pleading. Jeffrey mediating. Stop. This poisons us all. Silence fell. Heavy. Senior Jeffrey deflated. You're right. I sabotage 'cause I fear losing you again. Vulnerability cracked open. Admission of loneliness post-Ellen. Church isolation. A slip into old patterns. Jason, chest heaving, saw not monster but man, flawed as self. Reconciliation's thread pulled taut. Group huddle, tears and truths. Mia's resentment at divided loyalties. Jeffrey's quiet strength anchoring. We're human, he said. Messy, but worth the polish. Dawn broke. Apologies baked into breakfast. Plans hatched. Senior Jeffrey to Pride next summer. Family therapy via Zoom. Lila's giggles sealed it. Innocence a great leveler. Post-holiday. Jason's book deal deepened. Title exiled home. Chapters weaving expulsion to embrace. Launches loomed. But adoption news hit. Match found. A 5-year-old boy. Theo. With wide eyes and a stutter born of foster hops. Ours? Jason breathed. Papers trembling. Jeffrey's yes was fierce. Kiss sealing fate. Prep consumed. Room painted blue. Books on shelves. First meeting at agency, Theo shy, clutching a stuffed bear. Jason knelt. Hey, buddy. I'm Jason. This is Jeffrey. We're gonna be your team. Theo's whisper. Team good. Heartbreak and hope collided. Home transition was tender chaos. Nights of nightmares. Days of discovery. Theo's questions pierced. Why me? Jason's answer. Honest. Because love picks us. Jeffrey's bedtime stories. Theo's laughter blooming. But climax shadowed. Book tour announcement. Jason away weeks. Senior Jeffrey offered. I'll help with the kid. Make amends. Trust teetered. Jason agreed. Wary. Tour launched in Cincy. Sold-out crowd. Senior Jeffrey attended. Theo on hip surrogate grandpa act. Post-reading. Q&A turned raw. How'd you forgive? Jason glanced at father. Boy in arms. One step. One truth. Betrayal's final twist. Tabloid whisper. Anonymous leak. Jason's troubled youth twisted for clicks. Calls flooded. Agency doubts. Adoption scrutiny. Fury at source? Senior Jeffrey's church friend. Grudge-fueled. Confrontation via phone. I vouched for you. Elder's shame. Cut him off. For good. Resolution crested in therapy circle. Virtual truths bared. Boundaries set. I choose you now, Senior vowed. Theo's hug on lap. Team forever. Tour wrapped triumphant. Book climbing charts. Home. Theo's drawing. Stick figures linked. Labeled family strong. Holiday lights twinkled. Jeffrey's arm around Jason. Theo between. Shocked 'em all, Jeffrey murmured. Jason grinned. Stronger for it. Strength's true measure gleams in quiet victories. The ones etched not in headlines but heartlines. A year post-adoption. Theo's stutter faded under laughter's tide. His questions evolving from fear to wonder. Papa Jace. Why rainbows? Jason. Tucking him in. Spun tales of prides and promises. Jeffrey adding harmonies of hope. The Harlan web tightened. Threads cross-country. Mia relocated east. Lila's crib in the Brownstones' nursery annex. Aunt-niece bond a daily delight. Senior Jeffrey visited quarterly. Flights funded by Jason's royalties. Exiled home a bestseller. His pages dog-eared in shelters nationwide. His presence evolved. From tentative spectator to active participant. Teaching Theo whittling. Sharing psalms reframed through love's lens. Yet drama lingered. Life's uninvited guest. Jeffrey's job crisis hit first. Budget cuts axed his program. Youth left adrift. Back to square one, he vented, pacing kitchen. Jason pulled him down. We rebuild. Like always, job hunt yielded a nonprofit directorship. But stress frayed edges, arguments over Theo's bedtime, silences sharp as glass. Climax brewed during family summit in Ohio. Senior Jeffrey's cabin by the lake, a neutral ground of pines and peace. Mia's engagement announced. Ring sparkling. Toasts flowed, but undercurrents churned. Theo, splashing shallows, asked innocently, Grandpa, why'd you send Papa away? Silence crashed like waves. Senior Jeffrey knelt in muck, a level with boy. I was scared, little man. Thought love had rules. Theo tilted head. Rules dumb. Love's big. Wisdom from small mouth disarmed. Jason watched. Chest tight. Betrayals echo. Now a teacher's lesson. Evening fire crackled confessions. Jeffrey the partner shared his doubt. Sometimes fear whispers, I'm not enough for this. Senior nodded. Felt that raising you. Still do. Bonds deepened. Men bridging generations. Mia pulled Jason aside. He's yours now. Fully. But conflict peaked next dawn. Storm raging. Power out. Cabin flooded. Theo terrified in dark. Senior Jeffrey. Flashlight steady. Led evacuation. Arm around boy. Jason. Slipping on wet dock. Twisted ankle bad. Carried out by father. Irony bitter. Hospital wait. Ice packs and IVs. Jeffrey's hand in his. Iron Man. Recovery homebound. Jason penned sequel epilogue. Theo illustrating with crayons. Agency calls. Expansion offers. Speaking tours. But heart tugged west. Senior Jeffrey's health scare. Minor but marker. Come stay. Plea came. Jason did. Jeffrey and Theo trailing. Cincinnati Redux. Milltown's ghosts gentrified, but Harlan home eternal. Senior's workshop became Theo's playground, tools tiny scaled. Evenings, porches shared, stories swapped, expulsion retold not as scar but scar tissue. Strong. Betrayal's last gasp. Old church letter. Anonymous. Decrying prodigal's perversion. Senior shredded it publicly. A family dinner. My son's grace humbles me. End of sermon. Catharsis washed. Tears communal. Humanistic close unfolded spring. Cherry blossoms dusting Ohio paths. Wedding for Mia, backyard affair. Theo ringbearer in bowtie. Vows echoed Jason's unspoken. Endurance through storm. Jason and Jeffrey renewed quietly. Lakeside. Theo witness. Partners eternal. Rings exchanged anew. Senior Jeffrey officiated impromptu. Voice thick. From broken to whole. Return east. Theo school play The Wizard of Oz. Him as scarecrow seeking heart. Jason teared. Jeffrey squeezing. He found it here. Years layered. Theo's teens. Baseball games with Grandpa's duel. Mia's twins. Chaos compounded. Jason's legacy. Foundation for exiled youth. Marcus's spirit incarnate. Senior Jeffrey's final years. Peaceful. Passing in sleep. Letter left. Shocked me most. Son. You saved us. Funeral simple. Toasts to redemption. Jason spoke. Kicked out. But never down. Love's the shock that heals. Brooklyn nights. Jeffrey's head on chest. Theo's snores down hall. Stronger, Jason murmured. Jeffrey's reply. Sleepy? Shocking. Isn't it? Life's tapestry. Woven rough then fine, dramatic threads of loss. Emotional warp of ache. Romantic weft of touch. Humanistic fill of grace. American as apple pie and open roads. Flawed. Fierce. Forever.